Hello, this is Joe Brewer, and I want to share with you today how we're envisioning the ways to create value flows in what we're calling a bioregional funding pool. And this is a way of imagining how to regenerate entire landscapes at the bioregional scale, and then also to create networks of bioregional projects spread around the world. I want to begin with a grounding metaphor, which is that we think of land as the bank for regenerative investments. So if we can bring land into community commons, into collaboration for the landscape scale, then we can do things like retain water and build soils, train people and provide livelihoods, cycle nutrients and create material flows, while providing housing and growing food. And so we can see that land becomes a basis for both human survival and thriving, as well as ecological restoration and health of biodiversity for local ecosystems. And this becomes a basis on which to grow the capacities of local economies and weave them with other landscapes. We are taking a portfolio design approach for creating funding for Earth regeneration. And the way that this works in general is that we learn to work as functioning groups so that we can both pool together resources and acquire plots of land to regenerate, while also partnering with projects on other land that are attempting to regenerate those other pieces of land. And at this point in time, where I live in Barichara, Colombia, we already have more than 20 projects in collaboration with each other, and we're trying to build a prototype for how to teach other landscapes to do the same thing. And when we have this collection of projects spread across multiple pieces of land, we're able to diversify the risks and benefits and create measurement tools for regenerative flows within each project and across them as a collection. And this allows us to evolve toward platform levels of cooperation. And as we do this, we begin to envision ways of tracking and measuring information so that we can measure the information flows of the dynamic Earth, say precipitation patterns, energy from wind and solar, and other dynamics of the Earth system, connected to supply chains of the human economy within the local landscape, so that we can track the nutrient cycles of ecosystems and the regenerative value that is created as we restore those ecosystems in conjunction with the development of local regenerative economic activities. This enables us to envision taking a portfolio approach to imagine a bunch of land-based projects all over the planet, where each of them is organized at the landscape or the bioregional scale, so that we can distribute risks within each landscape across its portfolio of local projects, but also building up a collaborative framework for multiple bioregions to be able to pool their resources or collaborate in telling stories or creating tools so that they can distribute the risk and hold the diversity across these projects in different scales, local projects, territorial scale for bioregions, and a planetary network of bioregional projects, so that we can create systems of collective learning and learn how to build infrastructure for bioregional economies by learning together across a diversity of bioregions. Each portfolio of projects can have a diversity of different kinds of projects within it. So it can have different biomes or types of ecosystems, different kinds of cooperative structures or different regenerative goals. It can have different scales and complexity, and of course, different stages of development. Some projects that are new and just getting started, some that may be decades old and that are quite mature and complex. All of this leads to the idea of a bioregional investment platform, which is related to what we'll talk to in a moment when we talk about bioregional funding pools. Now, a bioregional investment platform is just a portfolio of projects organized around a specific territorial landscape that enables robust circulation of values and benefits to flow across the portfolio of projects as a whole system. Where we live in Barichara, Colombia, we are managing this with a community foundation and coordinating it through a learning center that focuses on the territory as a whole, and different landscapes could learn from our model or develop their own. One of the key ways of thinking about these portfolios of projects is that there are various territorial patterns of regeneration that we can see across projects within a territory. In our case here in Barichara, Colombia, we're looking at things like the restoration of an entire watershed, We've created a learning center in syntropic agroforestry where we create demonstration sites and host workshops while spreading reforestation across a diversity of local projects, local pieces of land. While we also design alternative economic models that allow for interactions and value flow between local projects while transforming the local food system, integrating the supply chains, helping different businesses to arise, and creating different models of collaboration between local projects. So you can see that these territorial patterns help us to see the risks and benefits across a portfolio of projects. All of this lays the groundwork for us to understand how we can create bioregional funding pools, which in our mind works like this, that if we can create a combination of some kind of a liquidity pool using Web3 and crypto tools, together with giving circles of strategic investors and strategic philanthropists, that we can create resource flows that go into a portfolio of local projects, and that those local projects self-organize by collaborating with each other at the landscape scale. So let's look at this in a little bit more detail. If we think of what a liquidity pool is in the crypto world, it's simply a way for those who want to trade in the crypto market to be able to have liquidity of tokens so they can buy from a pool of tokens that exists, because there's a set of people who stake their tokens with a validator, and that validator holds the tokens as a liquidity pool. If we modify this basic concept from crypto and Web3 and embed it within a regenerative mindset, then we can see that the crypto traders who are working in the crypto market may be people who are conscientious, that care about social and environmental outcomes, and that we may have people who stake their crypto tokens into a liquidity pool because they want to support regenerative projects, and that we can actually create the validator and staking structure, the ownership structure of this liquidity pool, so that it has agreements with the investors and the traders that all of the revenue created from this liquidity pool and its staking model can create resource flows to on-the-ground projects. This is similar in some ways, for those of you who are familiar, this is similar to the way that Giveth or Gitcoin work, in that a pool of money is made available. Agreements are set that the money will be applied to a thematic set of projects, in this case, regenerative on-the-ground projects. And that agreements can enable the system to flow so that we can create liquidity pools where the value generated by pooling resources for trading to occur creates a financial return. And that financial return is then invested in or donated to on-the-ground regenerative projects. In parallel with this, we can imagine creating giving circles, which is deep trust relationships with strategic philanthropists, those who want to give money into strategic projects informed by the knowledge of these portfolios, so that if there's a particular bottleneck, opportunity, or risk that has more urgency to it, that there may be a set of people who have already said they would like to donate money into impactful projects, but what they need is some trust or some confidence that the money will be impactful in those projects. That having this framework of portfolios organized at the landscape scale, and that having a continual flow of resources from liquidity pools creates tracking systems for on-the-ground updates and monitoring and evaluation of those projects so that the philanthropists know where to give their money to. All of this enables us to think about how the portfolio approach can enable us to unlock revenue from business models in the Web3 space, together with strategic philanthropy in more traditional nonprofit or impact investing contexts, so that we can create these collaborative processes to weave new and existing efforts around the goal of regenerating the entire planet, working within entire landscapes at the bioregional scale, and with networks of them spread across the world. This is the kind of work that we're doing now at Bioregional Activators, and if you'd like to support us, please become a Patreon supporter and find us at this link. We're really hoping that we can get enough people to support us that we're able to form the on-the-ground partnerships with bioregions around the world, and then also help set up these bioregional funding pools to direct resources into the on-the-ground projects around the world by creating support systems that maintain these relationships over time. So please consider becoming a supporter. I hope this inspires you to learn how to create your own bioregional funding pools, or that you might want to collaborate with us to do so. Please reach out at any time if you'd like to. You can find me by typing Joe Brewer into Google, looking for me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and we can connect.